When we bring children onto farms, they can often be overwhelmed by the sights, sounds and smells that they encounter. This activity is to help them focus. So it's got two parts. One, to get the children to look at something a distance away, and another part to get them to look at something close up. If you're working with younger children, you could think about hawk and mouse and get them to imagine what that might be like, what they can see. Today is a bright, sunny day, but there's lots of clouds. So on a day like today, you could get your children lying on their backs and focusing on a cloud. And the idea is to get them to focus on something far away for a good few seconds. So if you've got young children, maybe you'll only do it for 10 or 20 seconds. But if you've got older children, you might get them to do this for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Really focus on that distant object. So I've chosen to look at some hawthorn blossom about 50 metres away. It's about as close as I'd want a distant object to be. You can't see it very well on the film, but I can see just a blob of white. I'm really looking at it. So give your pupils some time and then get them in pairs to talk and describe what they've seen. So I might use the word blob and white. I think it might be a flower. Then get your pupils to choose something really close so they can really focus on that detail. So I've chosen this dandelion seed head, and I'm looking at it and thinking about the words that you could use to describe it. So it's white, it's fluffy, it's completely spherical, and that each seed is is identical to the one next to it. And then get your pupils to talk together about what they've seen.
Hi everyone. This short focus activity offers children a sensory experience, helping them relax, slowing down their heartbeat, enabling deeper breathing and calming the mind. We often learn about habitats on our farm visits, and this activity introduces children, or it allows them to re-engage with the world beneath their feet. It can be carried out on the grassy area of your school grounds or in a local park. Just stand and look at the grass for a short while as a whole. Ask the children what they can see. Collect ideas, maybe different shades of green, or that it's dotted with flowers such as buttercups, dandelions, daisies. They may describe the movement the grass makes. Encourage the children to lie on their backs and feel the grass against their legs, arms, necks and hair. Ask them to relax their bodies into the grass, feeling their limbs become heavy. Get them to breathe deeply in and out. Ask, how does it feel? Words could be scratchy, tickly, prickly, itchy, peaceful, happy. After a moment or two, get them to roll over onto their front and pick a blade of grass. They can split it or crush it, then smell it. Some children may love the scent, others won't like it at all. Ask them why they like or dislike the smell. Finally, ask the children to put on a pair of imaginary bug glasses. Explain that grass is an ideal habitat or home for many insects. Part the grass and look closely. What can they see? You may find spiders, ants, beetles, woodlice or ladybirds. Older children can be encouraged to look for longer. Patience pays off. And that's the end of the activity. I hope you and your children have a really good time outside. Who doesn't love grass? With a bit of patience you should find plenty of insects. Have fun outside.
If you're lucky enough to have trees in your school grounds, then this is a great activity to explore them in a bit more detail. You can look at shapes, sizes, textures, describing words for those trees, and compare and contrast the different trees that you've got available in your school grounds. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the texture of the bark on our tree. So with a piece of paper and the side of a wax crayon with the paper taken off, we're going to rub all the way around our tree. People can be thinking of words to describe their tree as they go. Stripy, bumpy. Okay, and that's the bark. The next thing that we're going to look at is the leaves on our trees. So encourage people to take 1 or 2 leaves each, nipping with fingernails to avoid damaging the leaves. We're going to put the leaves upside down so that they've got more of a texture. Put our paper over the top. They can feel for whereabouts the leaf is under there. And then we're going to do leaf rubbing. Encouraging them to go all the way to the edge so that they can get the overall shape of their leaf and see all of the veins coming through on there too. You could do that with 2 or 3 leaves. We're now going to look at the shape of the tree. So standing a little bit further back and looking all the way up to the top of the tree, looking at what shape our tree is, and then doing our best to translate that into our sketch. Now we've got our tree shape sketched on. The final thing we're going to do is to get the children to work in pairs to come up with some describing words for their tree. Okay. So I think this tree is feathery. I think it's tall. I think it's thin. I think it's got a pointy top on it. I think the bark was stripy. If it's appropriate for the age and ability of your children, they could annotate their sketch with these words. Otherwise, sharing them verbally is a nice way to start describing some of the vocabulary of trees. Another starting point for this activity, if you've got a cluster of trees in the same area, would be to give pupils a leaf from a specific tree and get them to go and find their tree, and that's the starting point for the journey, and then they can explore their tree in more detail from there. Another thing you could do to enable children to identify what tree their leaf has come from is collecting a sample of each of the different leaves that you've got in your school grounds, finding out what they are and labelling them, and then either photocopying, scanning, taking a photo of these and printing them out. That way the children have just the sample of leaves that are available to them, and they can match them size for size, which makes identification easier.
And there's a pocket full of ideas for you to get your children speaking and listening outside the classroom. Let us know how you get on.